Welcome to Season 7 of FYI. This season, instead of tackling topics, we'll discover the most common verbs in the English language. Haves and have-nots. May I have your attention? We'll have our way with have on this week's episode of FYI. Welcome to For Your Info.
En inglés.
You got it. Hello, FYIers. Welcome to another exciting edition of FYI. This is episode 2, season 7. That's right, season 7, episode 2. And today we're going to have a look. You can say to take a look or to have a look at the verb to have. And we're going to have our way with it. Vamos a hacer lo que queremos con ello. And if you noticed in the intro, I said haves and have-nots. That's how we divide people. Not by what political party you're in. It's the haves and the have-nots. And I think most of us are in the have-nots. As my favorite comedian once said, it's a big club and you ain't in it. Well, today we're going to look at this common verb to have. And as you know, in this season, we're breaking down the essential verbs, the most common verbs in any language. Last week, we took a look at, ahí estamos con take a look at. The big difference is the British say, have a look, and Americans would say, take a look. The same thing with the shower. I'm going to have a shower. I would naturally say, I'm going to take a shower. O más nativo, I'm going to jump in the shower. So as we did with the verb to be last week, and if you didn't hear that, give it a listen because it is the most important verb in any language. What we first do is we define the verb. We take a look at the verb and we look at all its uses, definitions, and always with examples. But what I want you guys to do always, every show, it doesn't matter, every example, I want you to repeat them aloud because I want you to look at this season like a speaking course. So, of course, you're listening to these translations, you're speaking, but also when I say, cuidado, lo juntamos así o asá, I want you guys to say it aloud. Again, the ball is in your court, FYIers. And remember, in the first part of the show, that is open to everybody. That's where we're going to look at the uses, some examples, and all that jazz. In the bonus part of the show, which I'm sorry, but it's exclusively for patrons. It does take a lot of time to make this content and prepare it, but it's worth its weight in gold. Well, if you want to get access to that bonus episode every week, and you can even get PDF documents of the script, so you can follow along and you can mark it up and you can come up with your own examples, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/Alberto Alonso. And if you're in my higher levels, well, you can even have a weekly class with me where we review each verb or each topic. So if you want more information, go to, what was it? Oh, wait, you should know it by now. I've repeated it many times. It's patreon.com/Alberto Alonso. And you should know those symbols too. Slash, barra, guión bajo. How do we say that? Do you know? Underscore. The most famous one. Arroba. How do you say that in English? That is at. So if you want to get all that bonus material, including a translation test, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/Alberto Alonso. And I'd like to send a shout out right now to all my patrons, especially my super duper students, Marta, Javier, and Paco, and my interstellar students, Carmen, Lina, Isa, Paco, David, Jose Maria, and Edgar. If you want to find out how you can get so much more content and, more importantly, be a part of an awesome community, you know where to go. Do I have to say the website again? All right, well, either way, you can find it in the link in the show notes. And also, if you're in my community, you could have access to the video podcast as well, which is very helpful when we're doing translation things. And I want you to look at my mouth, at how I'm pronouncing something. So again, The ball's in your court. Do you want to learn more? Are you hungry for more? Then go to that website. I'm not even going to say it again. Let's get started with this verb to have, because we don't have a lot of time. The first one we're going to look at is possession. The first usage is possession. Again, patrons, you can follow along in the document. So to own something, possess, or to hold it as well, sujetar, right? So I have a car. I have a car. Now you can also say I've got a car, right? I have a or I've got a. I generally teach I have because it follows the structure of the same verbs. You know, the other verbs are I go, well, I will go. I have follows that. I have got is its own kind of structure, but it's correct. So you can say I have a car or I've got a car. I've got, okay? I have got, pero siempre se contrae, all right? The next one. Ella tiene tres perros. Come on, that's an easy one. She has 3 dogs. She has. Suavizamos, no pronunciamos has, right? That's a big thing with this verb. Is it have and has, or is it have and has? She has 3 dogs. But you guys know me. I'm not going to make it that easy. I'm going to give you the answer. We just looked at those translations. You give me the question. So the answer, which we just looked at, I have a car. Pregunta, ¿tienes coche? Do you have a car? Do you have or have you got, right? Do you have, yo lo diría naturalmente, do you have a car? Yes, I have a car. I have a car. My sister, tercera persona, has a car, right? So, all right, the next one. She has 3 dogs. ¿Cuál es la pregunta que te lleva a esa respuesta? She has 3 dogs. How many dogs does she have? Did you say that? How many dogs does she have? Or how many dogs has she got? So that's the first meaning. Then we've got to experience or to undergo something, to go through, pasar algo. So we had a great time at the party. Yeah, I know you guys love to use enjoy, but we don't use it that much. We say have fun, have a good time, más que enjoy. And we'll look at some idiomatic expressions a little later on. Let's take a look at these examples. Lo pasamos genial en la fiesta. How would you say? And I don't want enjoy, no using enjoys. We had a great time at the party. We had a va junto. We had a great time at the party. ¿Ves cómo lo separo también? So what would be the question? Did you? Ahora, puedes decir, did you? Pero yo naturalmente diría, did you have a good time at the party? Did you have a good time at the party? Yes, we had a great time. So el pasado's had, right? We already said is have, but in third person, in present, it's has, okay? Well, had is the second column and the third column as well, right? The participle. So, all right, another one. She has had many difficulties in her life. She has had many difficulties in her life, right? Has she had, ha tenido, has she had many difficulties in her life? Yes, she has had. Now, ¿podemos contraer eso? Of course. She's had, más natural, el she's ahí no es she is, sino she has. Y aquí, has es un auxiliar. So remember that too. We've got to distinguish between whether we're talking about have, tener, experimentar, or have, o hemos, right? As an auxiliary verb. But again, at the end of these episodes, you'll have it crystal clear. Plus, you've got the PDF documents to review and to write down your own examples. All right, then another one is obligation or necessity. With the infinitive, we use this one. Tengo que, it would be in Spanish. So how would you say that? Tengo que ir al trabajo ahora. I have to go to work now. Házmelo en pregunta. ¿Tienes que ir al trabajo ahora? Do you have to go? Do you have to? Esa es la estructura. Do you have to? Lo que sea. Do you have to go to work now? Yes, I have to. Y fijaos, muchas veces se pronuncia have to. I have to go, porque el to no se pronuncia tanto como to. I have to go to work now. Do you have to? Yeah, I have to. So again, one thing is what's written, And another thing is what I'm saying. And I want you to focus on that in all of these episodes to really, really make this, instead of just a listening exercise, a passive listening exercise, well, that you repeat the examples aloud and you add your own examples on the PDF. All right, here's another one. He has to finish his homework before he can play. He has to. Fijaos en cómo lo junto. It's not he has to finish. It's he has to, verbo, porque el verbo es lo que cambia. So he has to finish his homework before he can play. In español decís homeworks, deberes. But for us, it's homework, sin ese. Okay, be careful. It's a place where we differ, donde no estamos de acuerdo. So he has to, otra vez, no digo to. He has to finish his homework before he can play. Como me preguntas, ¿él tiene que terminar los deberes antes de jugar? Esta es difícil. This is for my superstars. Does he have to finish his homework before he can play? Does he? Fijaos cómo me como la H. Does he? Does he have to? Yo no digo does he, porque me cuesta la vida hacer esa H. Entonces me lo como. Tenemos el derecho, we've got the right to swallow that, to not say it. Does he? Does he have to? Does he have to finish his homework before he can play? Okay, so otra cosa es lo que pone. Does he have to finish his homework? Y otra cosa es, does he have to finish his homework? Does he have to? Does he have to? ¿Tiene que él? Does she have to? El she sí que hay que pronunciar la SH. All right, so that is an obligation or a necessity. What about consumption? Food or drink? I know this is another one where we differ, donde no estamos de acuerdo. We differ about consumption. You say, voy a tomar algo. We don't say I'm going to take something. Eso es que lo vas a robar. O vas a tomar medicina. We use take for medicine. And don't worry, we'll take a look at the verb take in this season as well. So, to eat, drink, or consume. Do you want to have something? ¿Quieres tomar algo? No, I already had a coffee. All right, let's take a look. Some examples. I'm going to have lunch now. Eso es la afirmación. Hazme la pregunta. I'm going to, que se puede decir I'm gonna have lunch now. Are you gonna or are you going to? Eso como quieras. Yo diría are you gonna. Pero luego correcto en un examen Cambridge, are you going to have lunch now? But what are you trying to do? Pass a Cambridge exam or speak, right? To be understood. So we want you to think like us here. So I'm gonna have lunch now. Are you gonna have lunch now? Yes, I'm gonna have lunch now. No, I'm not gonna have lunch now. All right, another thing with lunch, to have breakfast. There's a common mistake. A lot of people say, I had for breakfast toast. I had toast for, see, I've got my sound effects over there. Excuse me. I'm out of breath. I had toast for breakfast, not I had for breakfast toast, que creo que es el error. And that's with lunch and dinner as well. To have, la pregunta, what are you going to have for dinner? I'm going to have salmon for dinner. All right, so that's very common. Comer, beber. You've got to master that usage. And then, as we just said, as an auxiliary verb. So it's used in the present perfect. He comido, I've eaten. He visto, I've seen. Acuérdate, cuando es tercera persona es has. He's seen, y se contrae, not he has seen. Eso es incómodo decirlo. He's seen many things in his life, contraído. He's seen many things. Ha visto, él ha visto muchas cosas. So you've got it as have or has, and then you've got it as had. I told them that I would have listened if he had given me the opportunity. Entonces, ahí el had en el pasado condicional también es auxiliar. So you can see it as have, has, or had in all its forms as an auxiliary verb. That's what makes it a little bit confusing. When I ask a student, do you have orange juice for breakfast? You know what they say? Yes, I have. Bueno, ahí sería yes, I do. Porque yes, I have you had breakfast? ¿Has desayunado? Yes, I have. So, tenemos que distinguir cuándo es have un auxiliar otra vez y cuándo es el verbo, que significa consumir, tener, experimentar, como estamos viendo. So, he terminado mis deberes. You try it. And then we'll do the question too. All right? So, he terminado mis deberes. I have finished my homework. Sin ese hemos dicho, ¿no? No homeworks. Pero ¿qué nos gusta más? Contraer, ¿no? So vamos a contraerlo. I've finished my homework. I've finished, y ves, la V se une con el F. I've finished, ¿no? Como que se une en uno. La V se convierte rápidamente en la F. I've finished my homework, right? Instead of I have finished, it's not natural. So I've finished my homework. La pregunta, ¿has terminado los deberes? Parents, this is a good one. Have you finished your homework? Y si queremos poner aún, yet, ¿no? Ya. Have you finished your homework yet? Have you? Otra vez, fíjate, nunca digo you, right? Have you? Have you finished your homework yet? All right. They had left before we arrived. Se habían ido. Esta estructura no es tan común, pero bueno, hay que saber had como auxiliar. They had left before we arrived. Had they left before we arrived? Yes, they had left before we arrived. We'll take a look at some more conditionals, but those are usually the most confusing one. But just remember this, guys. In the bonus episode, we start with really simple translations. So, mi hermana tiene tres perros, like we just looked at. And the last one is, si habría tenido cuatro perros. And as you know, since we're going to be looking at phrasal verbs and idiomatic expressions in the bonus part, well, you'll want to stay tuned for that as well. But let's continue with some more usage. I hope you guys are following along on the PDF documents and taking notes. And most importantly, that you're participating aloud, in voz alta, that you're really vocalizing and saying these structures and making them your own, because that's the key, right? All right, the next one is causing or allowing something to happen. Causing or allowing something to happen. So, haré que algo pase, ¿no? The same thing, you used haré, ¿no? I'll have. So, no, usáis to make or do, ¿ves? Usáis otro verbo, ¿ves? I just realized that after teaching for 20 years that we use a different verb there. So, I'll have my assistant call you. Haré que te llame mi asistente. I'll have that happen, right? Then the other example we've got there, she had the children clean up their room. She had the children, hizo que, she had the children clean up their room. You can also say she made the children, but same idea, right? But just so you know, you can say she had the children clean up their room. Why? Because it was a pocilga. Do you know that word in English? It was a pigsty. Man, that room was disgusting. It was a pigsty to clean up. She had the children clean up their room. Then we've got experiencing relationships or interactions. So this is tener hermanos, tener amigos. Esto no es poseer because they're not yours. No offense. So, how would you say tienes hermanos? Y no queremos especificar aquí si son masculino, hembra o macho, feminine or masculine, right? Male or female, I should say. Well, we would say, do you have any siblings? Do you? Otra vez el do you. No me sale el you nunca. Do you have any siblings? Ahora, si no quieres decir siblings, no sé por qué, porque te vale para todo, you can say, do you have any brothers or sisters? Do you have any? No cambia. Do you have any? Do you have any? Have you got any? Acuérdate que es la otra opción, pero estamos enfocando hoy con el do you have, porque es el que yo uso más que nada y creo que en Estados Unidos también. So, do you have any siblings? Yeah, I have one brother and two sisters, right? For example. All right. So, the next one, she has many friends. Acuérdate, many con contables, much con incontables. She has many friends. Tiene muchísimos amigos. All right, can you give me the question? Does she have many friends? Yes, she has many friends. And remember, esas H's no son has o have, sino has. Have. Es más como una respiración. She has many friends. And of course, we use it in commands or invitations. So, example, have a seat. Siéntese. Have a seat. También se puede decir take a seat. Sentaos, right? Have a seat, please. Or what about one of my favorite ones? Have a nice day. Have a good time. That's very common. Instead of saying enjoy, I want you to take the word enjoy out of your vocabulary. Not that we don't use it, but I think my students overuse it. And remember, it's never I enjoy to go. Sería I enjoy learning English with you. Pero queremos sonar más nativos. So you can say, I have fun learning English with you. I have a blast learning English with you. I have a great time learning English with you. And as you know, we like to look at pop culture, and we will in the bonus part. I have the time of my life, and I'm learning English every day. So a lot of different ways to say pasarlo bien, que no es enjoy. And I want you guys to start incorporating these into your speech because it's much more natural. Have fun. Oh, how was the zoo this weekend? We had fun. En vez de we enjoyed. Mucho más natural. Y luego no nos equivocamos con el enjoy más gerundio. Porque claro, en español, disfruto comer papaya. Y por eso muchos dicen, I enjoy to eat papaya. Pero no, es I enjoy eating papaya. Pero si es pasar un buen rato, have fun. Have a blast. I hope you guys are having fun and you're having a blast on these episodes on have. Let's take a look at some synonyms and antonyms before we have to, obligación, or have to, before we have to say goodbye. But again, I urge you, you have to, you must join us in the bonus part. And there you go. There's a synonym. You must, you have to. We use this all the time. Oh, I have to do this, this, and this. De hecho, lo usamos mucho más que must. So what does that mean? It means you have to master have to. Okay. And third person, has to. My sister has to renew her driving license, right? I didn't say has to. I said has to. And the other one's have to. Otra vez. You don't have to say it exactly the same, pero no tiene que ser I have to, because that's what I've heard too many times. So we're working on sounding more native, on imitation. Again, does it work? Do you want to hear how my daughter pronounces this? She'll blow your mind. So some synonyms are to own, poseer. Careful you don't mix this word up with O. I've had my students mix up O and own. To owe es deber. To own is poseer, tener, right? To own, to possess. Those are some synonyms. Pero cuidado, las primeras S es una Z, possess. He's possessed. ¿No? También if you, The Exorcist, for example. But also to possess, to own something. To hold, hemos dicho en la mano. Es un verbo irregular. Hold, held, held. To keep, kept, right? And we already looked at must. And why not look at some antonyms? No tengo. I lack. Esta es muy buena si no la usas. Carezco de. We lack the resources. Y también me recuerda la expresión, you're testing my patience, or lack thereof, o carencia de, o falta de. So es buena expresión, lack. We use it a lot. To lack es también es verbo. So it's a noun and a verb. To want, I want, I have. It's the opposite. If you don't have it, well, then maybe you want it. Maybe you need it. There is a big difference, though, between want and need, right? A lot of times in life, we got to realize that. And I'm speaking aloud to myself. I think to myself, I'm like, I really need this. And I'm like, do I need that? Or not really? I want that. And I think you can save a lot of time when you can really split those two words, right? I want versus I need. They are antonyms of have. And what about miss? Echar en falta. Perder, right? To not have it. You missed it. Perdí la función. Careful with this word too. I've had a lot of students say, I lost my flight. No, I missed my flight. You lose something that you misplace. Traspapeleas. You misplace it. And the last antonym is to refuse. To refuse. So these are just some of the uses of the verb to have. Some of their synonyms, some of the antonyms as well. Now, it's in your hands, folks, to take it and run with it, to go the extra mile, to make sure you've got this down pat. And that's precisely why I hope you'll join us in the bonus episode, because we're really going to really nail this verb. We're going to master it when we look at the homophones that go with it. When we look at the pop culture references, we're going to look at movie lines. We're also going to look at it in songs. So we'll be doing some singing as well. And we'll also test you at the end. And I think that's the most important part, that at the end of each episode, we've got an exam or a test to make sure you guys are kicking butt. So, FYIers, I hope you had fun. I hope you had a blast. And I hope you'll join us in the bonus episode of this week's FYI.